Russia seems to be coming up a lot lately, but not from this angle. Adam, tell us about the story that may have changed this story.
Well, first of all, I got to tell you, Brian, it's pretty involved, as you might imagine. There's a lot of different stories coming out online right now. I'm just going to go on what we have specifically right here. And first of all, let me also say that we don't know who spoke to David Nunes. We know it's not someone at the White House. We don't know who spoke to the White House about this other than what Nunes has said in front of press conferences. The sources we're talking to are separate from both of those entities. They don't really have a horse in this game. They are frustrated with the way the agencies, they say, are being politicized more than they've seen before in their careers. And one reason why they're speaking out is because of that. The second reason is because Nunes came out in front of the cameras, has his finger on it, they say, so they want to make sure that it's done correctly. What we've learned is this from multiple sources, is that it's all about intelligence gathering methods. The fact is a lot of these men and women in the intelligence communities did not want to speak about what's been going on because they were concerned about those methods being known. But now they figure they might as well at least clarify things, since Nunes has been leaked to by someone they don't know, or at least they tell me they don't know. We know that there was this. There was electronic surveillance of Trump and the people close to Donald Trump, including some supporters, for up to a year before inauguration. That information was disseminated, we're told, through NSA channels. It's unprecedented, I'm told, the way this was done. The mention of U.S. citizens is supposed to be masked, and that means basically taken out of a report. So, for example, if I call somebody in Bulgaria and that's picked up somehow by our agencies, and there's nothing there involving national security, there's nothing there involving a crime, that report would come out and it would say American #1, or my name would not be there. What I'm told now is when these reports came out, names were there, and that is unprecedented. Basically, they say that the information that was unmasking, this unmasked information, these names of Americans who had done nothing wrong, was disseminated to all of the NSC, some at DOD, Clapper, Brennan, basically the people at the top. They also say, I'm told, that Rice knew about this possibly as well. Now, I know there's some reports out there that she was the one that ordered this. We do not know who reported this because we have not spoken to David Nunes about it. He's not at least told us these things. So we don't know what papers he saw. Our sources don't know what papers he saw. They just tell me the information about unmasking names from Donald Trump and his team and his family was disseminated to a very select few at the top, and was done so for a significant amount of time. And that is blockbuster, guys. That, as far as we know, hasn't been done, at least in modern times, when it comes to this type of thing. Also, as we look down some of my notes here going through this, that there were also additional unmaskings as well. Again, as far as we can tell, none of this had anything to do with national security.
Okay. Right. I'm glad that was going to be my question. So the unmasking was for political purposes and not for national security reasons.
Yeah, basically, that's what we're told. They said, and that's what one was troubling some of these men and women, is that they were seeing these names going, wait, we don't normally see these names, and then they started to put it together. And I think whoever is leaking to David Nunes obviously is troubled by this. As you talk to the agencies, they're political just like the rest of the country, but they tend to be less political. A lot of these people don't have a horse in the game.
Adam, would you said we don't have names. So could you clarify this? We got 2 names from the New York Times and 3 names from the Washington Post. What about those White House names, and how are they? How is that different from what you're reporting?
Well, the New York Times report, which got wide coverage, was, I mean, pretty much wrong when it came to naming those 2 sources, the 2 people at the White House, as being basically insinuating that that's how David Nunes learned of this story. Our sources tell us those 2 guys basically got him access, that he had somebody else leak to him, at least 2 people, according to the congressman himself, and that those 2 people helped him basically get onto the White House grounds, or helped facilitate him getting to a secure location to see the information. One thing that really hasn't been clarified by the media, because they really haven't covered this, to be candid with you, is that to see this information, there's only a few places in our country to see it. And if you go to the agency who is leaking to the congressman, or, for example, if I don't have access, but if I was an elected official and had clearance, if I go to that agency, automatically you're going to probably have a pretty good idea who's leaking. I can't go to the other agencies I'm not involved with because I don't have access to, but I can go to the White House. There's a secure room there, and this has been done by chairmen in the past, and see the information there, the raw data, and that's apparently what was done.
Right, that leads you to believe that whoever the source is that unmasked these names that were part of the Trump team, high-level source, very well known, right?
West Wing person.
I'm
a West
told,
Wing person, right?
From what I'm told, exactly. In fact, the congressman has said that. The congressman has said a very high-level individual, and this is on camera. From what I watched some of his interviews last night, high-level on camera, he said that a high-level ordered it. And then on the papers that he's seen, he saw who ordered it, he saw who carried it out, and he saw one name that was unmasked.
Okay.
Obviously, the congressman won't speak to us about it, which is his right, his prerogative. But our sources know that there's a lot of things out there that exist, and they don't know which one he's looking at, so they're not going to be able to say it's Susan Rice, because they don't know what he's looking at.
Right.
But they will say that absolutely this information they know 100% was disseminated to the very top levels and routinely done for a significant amount of time. That doesn't mean that Clapper and Rice and these people ordered it or they were part of it, but they were receiving it.
And it was done for political purposes. And real quick, before you go, because I know your time is tight, it looks like what Donald Trump tweeted out a while back was right. The semantics are wrong. It wasn't a wiretap, surveillance, spied on. The idea was they've been watching the Trump people and probably the president himself for close to a year.
Well, we've covered this, Steve, and we've joked about it in some respects, and let friends joke about it sometimes when you're on the phone and you say, oh, hey, guys, whoever's listening. But in respect, we kind of are being listened to. I mean,
Sure.
It's metadata. It's being collected. So, yeah, I mean, think about this for a second. As an American citizen, I'd be troubled if my name came out in an intelligence report when I've done absolutely nothing wrong.
That's right. And it had nothing to do with Russia.
Right. And we know Adam Schiff saw the same thing as David Nunes, right?
Well, I know this Congressman Schiff, I watched his interview yesterday, and it was interesting that he talked about the process. He didn't talk about the results.
Exactly.
So generally speaking, when that happens, that means the results may not necessarily be very good. So that, in some respects, kind of gave me even a more of a little light bulb went on to say, hey, we're on to something.
Yeah, Adam Housley, great work out there. Keep it up.